Right. All right, then, welcome back, guys. So next up, we're going to hear from Natik about the art. Just one thing for the end of this. We've actually got some stickers and some some small things for you to take away if you want. And if you want any of the developers here to sign them, then what we'll be doing is at this table here, we'll be putting them here. So if you like line up there and then just like collect them and speak to the guys behind the desk. So that's just after this. If you're interested, just say that there. So, yeah. So now, Natik Gayev, take it away, Natik.
So, hello and welcome once again. My name is Natik Gayev. I'm art director and lead artist here in King Software House. I'm kind of responsible for both teams, but I can say that majority of time I'm working on space engineers. So, first question to you guys. How many of you were attending our last presentation here? Raise your hands. Okay. Why I'm asking this? Because as our workflow here didn't change much, so did my presentation. So probably some bits of it will still be the same. So don't be surprised and don't throw some tomatoes at me. But still you can, of course. We have kitchen over there.
Okay.
All right. So, but still, I hope that there will be some interesting bits for you also. All right. So let's start. What we're doing currently in our team, and this is malfunction. Yeah. Let me test it. Yeah. Now it works. So this is briefly the workflow that we have in our team. So it all starts with ideas. Then we proceed to concepting stage, which is usually on paper or just on our tablets. And then we go to modeling stuff. Modeling includes texturing, like rigging if it's for animation, like anything that makes the model complete, visually good. And then we export it to our engine. So, references. It's all actually about references. The best references are the real references, as you know. So it's the wrong way to be taking as a reference something from other games. You can be inspired by other games, but if you want to make something cool, something looking really cool and realistic, you really have to consider taking as a reference something from the real world. So now we'll be talking about the weapons, because I'm going to talk about our rifle, automatic rifle, how it was done. So we just start searching internet, Google it, and see how real things are working. So, and then what also I want to emphasize, like if you're up for an art, actually, you always want to look around you, because there are many interesting parts around us. For example, the piece that you see here, it's actually a laser toner, and it's this thing here. So it's just a toner, it's a cartridge for a printer. But that depends on how do you approach it. For a non-artist guy, it may be just a cartridge, just a toner. But what if you hold this thingy like that? So in a second, it turned into a pretty cool sci-fi thingy. And look at this. Look at all the details it has. You get it completely for free. And this is really cool. You have all the stickers that are actually functional, and they already look cool, you know? So just think about it. You know, probably my mom has more sci-fi stuff in her kitchen that you could imagine, you know? Because we have so many cool things all around us. especially in this modern era. So look around, and you will find. So now let me touch some theory. Our brain is very well trained to perceive surrounding reality, and it's very well trained to simplify it in a most effective yet simple manner. Our brain is so powerful, it's so cool and chill, that if you would see at this picture, you would probably see that this is, what is it? What do you see here, guys?
Circle.
Circle? How many circles?
3.
Cool. 3 circles. Your geometry teacher would be really proud of you. Okay. So, and that's cool. You would never probably perceive these 3 circles of these shapes as this, right? Because this is this is the wrong way. This is the complicated way of understanding things. So, and if, for example, if you would see this picture, you wouldn't probably say that this is, that, hey, Natik, I think this is a bunch of sticks, and this is a picture of 52 sticks in one place. No, no way. You would probably say that this is a square made out of a bunch of sticks, right? Because your brain simplifies it, and this is cool. Because this is the most efficient way for us as humans to learn outside world. This is very important. So, now I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you like about 2 seconds. Read these words quickly. 2 seconds. 1, 2. You just started school? What is written here?
Highly dangerous.
Highly dangerous, exactly. And you, you were quite fast, I would say. So, now try to read this.
8 fleas.
Not even near. What is this? Who can read that?
Explicit.
No. No. So, guys, it looks like you're having a bit of trouble with this word. Unless you're from Finland, of course, because Finnish guys can read that without any problem. So, the thing is, you might ask me, hey, Dante, come on, why are you showing it this shit? Come on, what is this? What is this? But I will tell you. The thing is, your designs should communicate, and they should be clear and easily recognizable as these words. Okay? Because if you design something overcomplicated, you will end up like this. You will have people not understanding what were you going to tell them, what were you going to express, what was the emotion. Because when you were watching these words, you instantly see what these words are about. They trigger some emotions in your brain instantly, without any effort. Your brain does it for you instantly, without any hassle. So, this is very important. If you would look at this picture, probably, you would think that, hey, what is this?
Joel.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, but this picture is very emotional because it's very first primary force or primary emotion that is coded into it is fear. This guy wants to threaten you. Because if you would give this kind of task to some kid, like, hey, draw something really scary, he would probably end up with something like this, because this is really scary. And if you would look at this from the other side, no. This thing is pretty cool. And when you remove this overpaint, this scary sketch, you can clearly see that there's an exact, precise emotion coded into this guy. You can instantly feel on a even subconscious level. You can instantly feel, hey, this is a threat. This guy can kill me. This is a real, the real possibility of death coming from this guy. And that's exactly how for example, car designers approach their designs. Because when you see some cool cars, some really cool sports car, for example, you can definitely see that, hey, this car has some really strong character in it. Because they're being inspired by owls, tigers, lions, sharks. That's why you feel it on a subconscious level, hey, this car is cool. Because it was referenced by a shark. It was referenced by some dangerous creature, underwater creature. And these guys are really dangerous and perfect in terms of shapes. So, one thing that I also want to emphasize about this thing is that we actually don't read words. We don't read them. You will probably say, hey, the reason because we read these two words so quickly, because we just know these words, we just read them. No. Your Honor, I object. You didn't read them. You know designs of these words. You know how this particular entire word look like. And just now imagine how many words do you know just by just design, by just a shape of them. You don't read them. You were reading actually this word. Just think about it, how cool it is. That's why it is very important to communicate your designs, your shapes in a clear and easily recognizable manner. Okay, so now this is something new for you. Now I will talk about something that is completely off space engineers. So what if we want to kind of put in the work what we already know about the shapes and designs? Let's assume that we were given a task to design a police drone. A police drone. So probably you will end up with something like this. Probably, I don't know, because this is a police donut. This is a donut that police like so much. So I just started with this really exciting shape of a donut or torus. And I just dropped it into Quixel. This is a really cool piece of software. And I just started to think the same exact way. How would I approach this? What kind of emotions would I like to put into this guy, into this drone? So I wanted to make it look dangerous. I wanted to make it look really threatening. So that's why I tried to go with snake design. So I just started to put these lines, these black lines, dividing some paneling. And if you would see here, you can see these lines here, and you can see the same, almost the same lines here. So this is a kind of the same pattern, the same emotion. It affects you on a subconscious level, but it's still there. Also, if you could see this part, which is kind of considered to be like a face or the front part of the vehicle or the drone, it's also made in a form of a chin and a silhouette of a snake's head, which also brings this illusion of death, threat, danger. And another element of snake that are really dangerous, of course, its teeth. And as you can see, I've put some teeth-like thingies here, these elements, that also emphasize it. That also, on an emotional level, they tell you, hey, 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 this guy is really dangerous. And also these, for example, these nostrils here, that you can see here, they all work kind of together. That's how you express emotion through your designs. And that's how it looks photoshopped into some cool background. Yeah, it's in Cherny-Most. Now these guys should pay me some money for advertising them. All right, so this guy looks really dangerous and dirty, but hopefully it will be clean in a few minutes, since it's in the Muichka. All right, so another very important thing that we respect here, as I said, we respect shapes, because this is one of the most important design languages, shape language. So as you can see, if you want to be able to do something in sci-fi design, if you want to create something sci-fi, you want to be friends with these two guys, hexagons and octagons. Because pretty much everything that you see in modern movies, they're made of these two cute guys, hexagons and octagons. For example, this is pure hexagons. Octagons from Alien Covenant movie. Again, octagons. They're everywhere. You see? These shapes are octagons, which immediately tell you that this thing is happening somewhere in space, that it's or in future, because these shapes are highly futuristic. Oops. Yeah, so again, octagons, as you can see, it may seem that this is not an octagonal shape, but still it made just of few shapes, few octagons in an additive manner. Here, for example, it's also octagon, right? And you can see lots of octagonal shapes in modern car design, because when the manufacturer or designer wants to portray that this thing is futuristic, it just introduces these octagons or hexagons. Okay, so now let's get down to our business, to our space engineers, automatic rifle. So the way it was, we were approaching this. So I just made the cute, nice rectangle here, and I introduced I invited my favorite guys, octagons and hexagons. Well, hexagons in this matter, in this particular case. And I was just eating out, like introducing some negative space into this rectangular shape. So that's how I proceeded. I just placed them, I just tested how they look in different places, and that's what I ended up with. So this is still an overpaint, this is a concept art. And after that, after the concept is made and after the concept is approved, we starting to model stuff. We started to model automatic rifle, and that's how it looks in low poly with all the hard edges, right? So after we're done with low poly model, we kind of jump into ZBrush and start to detail it. We start to introduce these nice edges, round edges, smooth edges, and as well as these nice bolts here and there, which add a lot to realism and which make the rifle or the weapon looking functional, or it makes it like it was really made in some factory, right? But the cool thing about this is that this will not be in geometry. It will be only in normal map, right? So that's how it looks in exploded mode. So piece by piece, and later we will export all of these pieces to XNormal, or you can, well, nowadays you can bake. Well, XNormal is a baking software where you bake stuff from Highpoly to Lowpoly. And later, all of these pieces will be exported to XNormal, or like I said earlier, nowadays you can bake this stuff in a marmoset toolbag, third version. But before that, of course you have to UV map your rifle, your model. So that's how it looks. We approach it with a very accurate manner, because UV space is very expensive, and you really want to place all of your shells, all of your UV islands as close as possible to each other, not to waste UV space. Because the more UV space you have, the more detailed, the more resolution you will have in your final texture. Right? So this is another step where we apply this checker type texture on a model, and we check if all the parts of this rifle are relative in terms of scale. And then we, again, like I was saying, piece by piece, we're exporting each part to X normal or to Marmoset toolbag. That's how exciting X normal interface looks. So after that, when we bake our maps, when we baked our first normal, like raw normals, that's what we end up with. This is a rifle, automatic rifle for space engineers that we're currently using. Right? So as you can see, this is a picture, this is a snapshot, screenshot of automatic rifle, a low poly version, which we currently indeed use in our game now, but with the normals. As you can see, the geometry here is very primitive, very flat, but still, thanks to this normal map, we have these nice features here. We have nice details. Here, for example, it's not in the geometry. As you can see, this is the geometry. This is the geometry. But these are the normals. These are the fake bumps, fake relief, which is cool. And that's the color ID map, which makes our life as textures a lot easier, because we just can say that, hey, this blue part is metal, this, for example, this green part is plastic, etc. It just makes it a lot faster for us to iterate and to quickly build up some really cool looking weapon ready to be exported. So that's the final look. So for example, me, I'm using, in my texturing workflow, I'm using Quixel, Quixel suit, but majority of our guys use Substance Designer, which is also very cool. So this is the final version. We have, as you know, we have 4 tiers for our automatic rifle, so that's how they look. This is the final version of automatic rifle. And after that, we, of course, from either from Substance Designer or from Quixel, we export all needed maps. We export normals, albedo, gloss, metalness, and ambient occlusion. And that's it. We export it. We export this model using our builder model and textures. We use DDS format for exporting textures. And we export it to VRH. We export it to our engine. And that's how it looks in game. So that's a screenshot from our game now. So as you can see, this is a precise mode of the iron sight. That's how it looks in the hands of our cool guy, of Joel's guy. Joel's exactly. And yeah, I hope you learned something new today. I think I hope it was interesting. And if you have any questions, you can either ask now or you can catch me later in the hall and ask whatever you want. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nati. Thank you, guys. Yes, sure. Go ahead with the call.
What about the spacesuit? Where did you take the inspiration from? NASA?
Yes, of course. We were inspired. Again, it was like a mixture. It was NASA. It was even some other games as inspiration. And I can say that I wasn't here working at that time when it was prepared. Some other guy was doing it, the whole model. I don't want to take the credits for that at all. His name is Rastko Stanojevic. Hello to him.
Shout out for the designing this, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
He's a really cool artist. I like him a lot. He's a really cool guy. So yeah, probably he will answer better But yeah, I can say that, well, for example, everything that we're doing now, we're trying to be grounded on real world structures, mechanisms, suits, technology, because we don't want to be very, very off science, you know, still. So of course we use lots of references from the real world.
I hope it answered your question. Okay, now let's go back to Slido and let's look at the questions that we still have there, both for medieval space but also some for Nati. I will go with Rivian. He had some comments. There's people mass disliking workshop submissions in order to practically censor them. One dislike is equal to 70-ish likes in search results. This is an exploited system that causes massive problems among creators and don't happen to have fans protecting them from this. I know you cannot fix it on Steam, but would you be able to host something like a workshop page with Steam links on Keen's side where Keen can combat this? Definitely we would be able to do something like this. I'm not saying we are going to do it tomorrow or next week, but what we are trying to do is also to have various contests, as you probably saw them. Like right now we have an NVIDIA Ansel up and running. We also have this new visual style contest up and running, and we are trying to encourage people to really show us what you're able to do in the game, and then we are trying to promote it through our social media, web pages, and also we are trying to also put it into the game, some of them, or really the best ones, to make sure that this is visible and people are really encouraged to use the game as much as possible and enjoy the game as much as possible and show what they are capable of doing it. In terms of mods, this is, I would say, Steam specific. Steam is dealing it this way. Of course, we can try to compete a little bit and promote something, but if there is really like a great mod and we have it submitted or highlighted by one of our players, definitely there are people in Keen who are looking at it. At least Joel, he's always testing these, he's playing crazy things, so I can tell you that he's looking at all those new submissions. And if there is something specific, what we are also doing is we are posting it on social media. So almost every day you can see something new on our Facebook, on our Twitter, and that's how we are trying to promote these specific and great mods that are out there. I don't know, Joel, whether you would like to add something there.
You know, so it's like it can be. There are like some problems with the Steam workshop, the way it works. So I think it mainly comes down to us about promoting different workshop creations separately to Steam, where we almost we select some and pick out. I think it's as for having something on our Keen site, like that's something we could look into for sure. I think. Having like a nice highlight there, and I think even like if the game allowed it would be to have in the actual game we could pre-select some that would rotate every month, and you could like load up a world or something. So there's lots of ideas out there, but we're always like it's always good to try and think of new ways to promote what people are making, because lots of people don't actually always get to see the full potential of the game, because the workshop just contains so many amazing things, and a new player often doesn't know about the workshops. They don't come across these cool creations. So I think definitely if you could find more ways to promote these awesome things outside the workshop, that'd be great, I think. Yeah.
Thank you. Next question goes back to medieval engineers, and the question is how many programmers are working on ME actively? So right now we have 4 programmers that are actively working, and we have our former colleague who is currently in US, but he's still in contact with us, so I would really say that we have pretty much 5 programmers who are actively working on medieval engineers. I'm not counting with designers, with the art team. These are only programmers that I'm talking about.
I mean, one thing is just to point out, we've got one of our programmers at the back.
Yes. Michael's
at the back, and the colleague giving a wave, so you can speak to Michael if you're interested about medieval programming. And also we've got some of our game designers, Lukash and Sergey at the back from Medieval. And I think also the assistant producer, Captain Twinkie, or Chuck, is also walking around, so you can try and catch him. So yeah, we've got a couple.
And we have hopefully Tim still with us.
Tim is, I don't know if he's still watching, but yeah.
And Tim is game producer for Medieval Engineers. What is your vision of finished multiplayer? Who will take it?
Maybe Philip can take this one.
It's a little bit technical one.
Yeah.
Maybe
So,
Philip will try to answer this.
Okay, this major, our focus was pretty much on performance. So we tried to, like our vision was that the player will connect to the server and they can play with the others. At least 16 players if you have dedicated server, and you still have the SimSpeed 1. That's what we want to try to achieve. Because we think that and of course we want to fix the bugs and desins and that kind of stuff. So that's our vision at this moment.
Thank you. Perfect. Jasper is asking, will there ever be an easier way to build working airships and to use them like Epic Tech did?
So like
The way how to build the ships in Space Engineers to make it
Medieval
easier to build
engineers
them.
did this.
medieval engineers.
Oh yeah.
They're talking about like
okay.
kind of like
I misunderstood that.
like balloons kind of thing. So it's
Yes.
not quite medieval,
Okay.
but it's kind of like slightly what do you call it? I mean, I don't say steampunk, but like kind of slightly fantasy, but like
Okay.
having basically like flying grids.
Yeah.
The question was if they can make it easier. I think. The problem with that, I think, is it's like again like the medieval. It's trying to keep it realistic, or at least grounded in realism. Of course, there's things you can do which aren't, but something like this, I think it's a bit beyond that, and I think that kind of thing will be left for mods. But it is really cool to see, and people come up with some crazy like fantasy stuff in medieval. It's got a lot of potential going forward actually for like full conversion. I think someone was trying to make like a RuneScape mod for like you know, for medieval. So there's tons of potential there, but not something that I think will be
It's
a core
currently on
game.
the roadmap, yeah. Definitely. Any plans for Animal Husbandry in ME? I'm not aware of this.
I don't know. It's not my tip. Sorry guys.
When will barbarians be renamed to thugs or their models be updated so they are resemble barbarians? I don't know, Michal, if you can touch this, but answer this.
Let's say that currently our focus is on something completely different than the AI. And on the future we want to retouch their behavior so they behave, let's say, in a more challenging way, in a more intelligent way.
Yeah.
So currently they are basically just not giving trouble, they are just know about this issue, but we want to focus on that.
So for all on a Twitch stream, the answer from Michal was that they are currently working on barbarians in terms of getting them to behave a little bit more intelligently than what we have right now in the game. So that would be that one. Why do you think that hexagonal and octagonal shapes are sci-fi related, Natik? Besides movie promotions.
Yeah. Well, it's just a historical fact. Probably because the hexagonal structure, this hexagonal network, is proved to be very good and stable from scientific point of view. Because, as you know, bees are building their hives out of hexagons, and this proved to be very stable structure. And also, probably because there are numerous versions of this fact, probably we don't meet that much these kind of shapes in our normal life. So probably, as these shapes are very cool looking, very irregular looking, probably these shapes were selected. But also, I can say that in the real world, not octagons and hexagons are used, but just the circular shapes used in real spaceships. Because these circular shapes, like for example doors and stuff like that, or illuminators, I mean windows, they are always circular. Why? By the way, does anybody know why they're circular?
There's no weak spots?
Exactly. These things are called stress concentration. So if you would do a rectangular window in a spaceship or even on a regular jet, like airplane, if you would do a rectangular window, you would probably end up in heaven. Well, either in heaven or in hell. It depends on your life, because because these types of structures, like rectangular structures, prove to be, they have 4 stress concentration points in corners, and if it's likely to be broken, it will break in these stress concentration parts. That's why they use circular shapes that are very hard to break. So probably because these octagons and hexagons are kind of similar to circular shapes, and they kind of still not very of science, probably these ones. But I didn't made up myself this. Like it's it's just a known fact. Yes, sure. Yeah, I'm sorry. A bit louder.
Speak out loud.
So I heard you. I can repeat.
All right.
They're basically made from triangles.
What?
They're made from triangles.
Models?
Hexagons.
They're made up of triangles.
Hexagons and octagons, which is the strongest natural
Well,
shape.
hives, for example, beehives, they're made up of hexagons.
Yeah, they're saying is they're made. They're the subparts of a hexagon. And
Yeah,
they're triangles,
these
and the
shapes.
triangles are the strongest.
Triangles, well, probably.
And the diamonds are made out of triangles. In molecular shape.
Well, I would address this
Miller.
question to bees because they they chosen this shape as the hives. I don't know, but of course, maybe they're triangles also the strongest, but they don't use it in.
It's the fact that they're made up of small triangles fit into it. The same as like a diamond. There's triangles in
Hexagons?
In a hexagon, yeah.
Well, yeah, well, that depends on how you approach it. Hexagon may be made up of 2 triangles and just 1 rectangle, or a square. You can approach it like that.
Yeah, like if it's
Squares also 2 triangles.
You can.
Okay, let's stop this hypothetical
Or 4.
discussion.
Or 4 actually.
There
can
was
be made of
there is a
4.
question.
If hexagons and octagons are for sci-fi, are there other shapes for different branches of art?
Probably.
Oh, something more famous.
Yes, go ahead.
The thing with octagons or hexagons for this is hexagons are the most efficient way for you to use as little material for the strongest structure. That's why it's considered mostly the most superior way to make a pattern, and that's why you mostly see it in sci-fi.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying earlier. This is proven to be very stable, very efficient. Yeah, in terms of tension or destructibility. Yeah, and exactly that's why bees use it.
Yeah. Okay, just to move forward, I would like to take a few more questions that we still have out there. Any plans to add blood and gore to the combat element in the game, like in Dead Space? First of all, we are not a combat game, even though there is an element of having the combat in the game, but we are not per se a combat game. So we are a sandbox, open world, and we would like to encourage more engineering, creativity than the combat. Of course, if it's a natural, if you build something, you tend to destroy it or destroy something what someone else created. So that's our natural behavior probably. However, as I said, we are not a combat game, so we are not really looking into adding more blood or anything else in terms of improving the combat itself. There are going to be some tweaks in a combat for medieval, for example. That's what guys are currently working on, but this is not going to be focusing purely on the combat like we would like to create a combat game out of medieval engineers. So, will King consider opening other offices around the world, such as in US? Right now, we are not considering opening any other offices than what we have here in Prague. So,
again, who knows what the future may hold?
yes, I cannot predict the future.
Yeah.
Yes, but right now I'm saying we are not planning to open anything. Question for space engineers: will you update network code? On my server, I have often lags and inconsistencies extremely with the wheels. I'm not quite sure, Philip, if you can answer this.
That's
please?
what the multiplier measure is about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much.
So, short answer, yes. A little bit longer answer. Please wait for another major update with the multiplayer, which will really go live pretty soon.
TM.
Then, it's possible for us to see your roadmap for SE in the future. we already answered this question, so we will take it with Marie-Rosa and we'll prepare something hopefully for you. Are you planning to make voxel areas pressurizable? Like build a base with using voxels walls instead of armored blocks and then pressurize it?
I don't know answer to this question.
It's like, yeah.
It's probably more
pressurization.
Yeah, pretty much the pressurization, that's a terrible word. It's pretty much the least efficient code in space engineering. It's very hardware intensive, so making it to the voxels would like kill your computers probably. So yeah, so not at this moment.
Okay. Girl, one for you. Holding up in that suit. How
I'm
is it?
alright. Yeah, it's actually it's easier here because they've got some bit of air blowing on me, so it's actually not too bad. Yeah, it's alright.
Any plans for VR version in the future? We don't have it right now.
Again, we experiment
on the table. Experimentally, maybe yes, but right now we are not working on it. Let's put it this way. Can we expect improvements in sieging and offline castle protection from medieval engineers? Where do we have medieval engineers designers? Right there in the background. So, Lukáš, maybe, can you answer this? Did you hear the question?
Yes.
Okay.
We are thinking about this a lot. We are very much aware of the PvP issue. I sometimes compare it to a situation like where you're playing World of Warcraft, you have a character there, and someone can build the character while you're online. That's a really good game if you lost your character while you're doing stuff. And it's basically what's happening on our servers and on every simple game out in the code. So we are thinking intensively on how to resolve it without in a way that it will be fun and fair for everyone.
Without community.
Yeah, without anything to do.
We already made the prototypes. There was 2 mods from Quixel about link protection when you are in offline, when you are not connected to the server, and we were collecting the feedback from the players, how they like it. And based on this, we will think about how to implement it to the game. So yes, this is the consideration.
Okay, so just
I'll just repeat, yeah.
Go ahead.
That's all right. You can.
Go ahead.
All right. Just repeat. Yes, the answer is yes. We are working on that. The designers are busy. It's just for the Twitch stream. It's just mainly looking into ways how to do that and how to do that in a way that will be fun and that won't limit people. But they've already played around with some prototypes that Deep Flame actually publishes mods, and they're now looking at the feedback from that and seeing how to actually implement that in a official, proper way.
Yeah.
So yeah, so yes.
Finally, we get over one of the famous and most popular questions. What can we say about female engineer in space engineers?
Well, I'm afraid we're not ready to answer this without our lawyer.
Because there are so many questions like this every time when we are doing stream or discussion, Q&A, whatever, so probably we will need a lawyer right now to answer this, because then we will be immediately, you know.
In other words, just stay tuned.
Yes.
Stay tuned.
So, really. Okay, and a few questions for you, Joel. When we can see the game, in the game, the teasers that you're uploading into the YouTube, or in other words, any plans to develop? Sorry, no, there was a. What you can say about these teasers on the YouTube? How you're creating it? How is the overall process of creating the videos for our YouTube?
What's the question again?
What can you say about all teasers from YouTube updates?
Okay. I often say this, but they were shown for a reason. Some of the things are like, it's all about priorities. I was talking to someone earlier about this, and those things, if they were like art things that were created, they're still there somewhere, but it's all about what we are focusing on right now, and for whatever reason, they're not there yet, but that doesn't mean they won't be, even though it's a long time. It's just now and again, like the focus, gone blank. But yeah, mainly about priorities, and some of those things became not the priority. So they're not like gone forever. It's just like they're there somewhere, but maybe there's more to it than meets the eye with those teasers. So yeah, that's kind of the answer there. That they're still there, but it's just they're not the priority for us at this time.
Okay, Thank you.
Yeah.
We already run out of time, so maybe I will give a chance for one more question here in the room. Anything you would like to ask? Any one of us? Okay, then I would like to thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
Something I was probably talking about this in the background streams. The wolves as the enemy in the game. Could there be a way to exchange them with something that actually makes sense, that gives out mechanical parts? Because wolves don't have mechanical parts in them. Something that you won't feel bad about.
That's a good idea.
It's about
Offer. Do you have any suggestions, offers?
What it
We're
could
always,
be?
like, I want to say that we're always open for any kind of suggestions. We love it. So if you have any suggestions, offers, ideas, share it with us, please.
Like smaller drones, like the ones from Britain that you showed before in the presentation, but not those. Like smaller drones that are NPCs, not built out of bombs.
Okay.
basically it's an alternative to having to kill
Yeah, the
the
wolves.
wolves.
Like an animal.
That's the main thing, yeah.
Yes.
What was wrong with Cyberhounds?
They got me cyber down.
They were too explosive.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know.
All right then. Thank you very much, Mati, for your presentation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you guys for answering the questions. Thank you for coming over. Thank you for watching. And one last reminder, Joel, about the posters.
Yeah,
and,
so yeah, if you guys
stickies.
want to collect some posters or some stickers, we'll be over there, and any of the devs who are still around and who want to sign it, or if you want signatures from any of the team, then they'll be there to do that for you. So I guess just like if you're interested, just kind of line along this wall up to that counter. So yeah.
So again, thank you very much, and we will spend one more hour just meet and greet over there and having fun with the games. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool, all right. And if you want to come say hello to the stream really quickly, so if you want to come say hello to the stream, you can come say hey.
We're here.
No, yeah, say look into the camera there.
There's a camera there.
Got perfect blinking here.
Hey guys, will you stream? Maybe streaming later some
Maybe
other SE
tomorrow.
things?
Maybe
Maybe
tomorrow. Tomorrow. Today's going to be kind of heavy. So
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
yeah.
So
I think
afterwards,
who else wants
we're gonna have some fun in the park. So maybe some real life streaming. I don't know.
Who knows what
See
happens.
you later,
Yeah.
guys.
Just see if anyone.
Good time.
Max,
Prague.
wanna come say? Yes, come say to the stream.
We want to hear you, man.
Max, your slides here.
Where's the camera?
There. There's it there.
Nothing over there. That looks like a camera.
It is a camera. That's right. It is a camera.
You can turn on the lights again.
There we are.
How's everybody doing? All right?
Yeah, I think good. Yeah. I think I don't know how many people are watching right now.
Do you flame still watching?
68 people. Wow, fantastic. There you go.
68 here for the after credits.
Exactly.
This is the after credits.
Post credit scene.
Yeah, post credit scene. Yeah, the blooper reel.
Exactly.
Are you going to do one of your quotes live?
Yeah. Oh, we need the cringe. We need cringe.
You can see us cringe in real time.
Well, that's all for now. If you're interested in the full list of stuff, you can check out this video again. And as always, now that it's the end of the open day, it's time to go and play.
No, just no.
So I'll take this away from you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Oh, it's 3 minutes.